Wood here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. The guy in the thumbnail, his name is Blair Hardy. He is guilty of murders. He is guilty of attempted murder. He is guilty of aiding in my identity theft. He is a homosexual, obsessed, stalker, drug trafficker. He has a meth lab, allegedly with OPP drug cops, Spencer Mills, Robert Kane in Tweed, Ontario. Co-drug traffickers, human traffickers, sex slavery trafficking, financial thefts and frauds, identity thefts and frauds, medical blacklisting, medical treatment refusals, kidnapping, sex assault, false arrest, criminal stalking, having my mother murdered through Billy Waldridge, Blair Hardy, Spencer Mills, and Stacy, a mental health worker, Ontario Provincial Police, Spencer Mills 14716, ex-chief or commander, year 2019. Had me shot before he left here in Napanee. Staff sergeants, years 2019-2021. Sodomy, sex assault, kidnapping. Shannon Cork, Robert Kane, Robert Lucas, Stacy, mental health worker, and Shelley Hafner. Thank you. I do truly appreciate that. I could use all the prayers. I have spent the day with no feeling in my face, no feeling in my head, losing my balance, having problems breathing on and off. I appreciate your words and I appreciate your prayers 100%. Thank you so very much. I truly mean that. I I know I should be forgiving them. At the same time, I think it's my ego that's preventing me. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that too. It means more than that means more to me hearing that than what I could say. So thank you so much. Are you yourself a victim of remote neural monitoring? I love him too. God is spirit, Father. I am living body, Son. Do you get the exact same thing pretty much as what I am going through? The injuring, the torturing. With me, mostly it's my head, it's the skull swelling, the constant hitting me with EMFs to my head, broadcasting through me because my skull was split into different sections. And the EMFs is basically softening my skull, enabling it for it to be deformed the way it has been. And that's what's doing it all through the R&M. And then that is what is deforming my dog Runt and also what gave him cancer as well. The same thing happened to my mother. It was being used on her. It caused tumors and it killed her in 2020. I am so sorry to hear that too. My one dog, Chipper, that I had, Runt's dad, before I moved to where I am. I am so sorry to hear that. That is not a good thing in any way, shape, or form. I am so sorry. Any form of cancer, it needs to be completely and totally eradicated. What a lot of people do not realize, though, that one way to detox from radiation, chemotherapy, and also AIDS in killing cancer cells is bathing in baking soda and sea salt. Actually, it acts as a detox on your body. I I've been going watching him now for quite a few years as well. Once I really started to discover what was taking place with me and by whom, how, and why. I kind of had an idea about targeted individuals and the remote neural monitoring and all this other stuff before it actually I became a victim of it. So in that sense, I guess I kind of had an upper hand in a way as to know what was going on with me and how it was being done. Whereas a lot of people wouldn't, they just automatically assume that they're going crazy. And that is how a lot of people end up in the psych wards and whatnot, is because this is being done to them and they actually believe that they are getting mental illnesses or have a mental illness. And it benefits the ones doing it because then they can use that to their advantage. And that's all part of the gang stalking process. The gaslighting as well that takes place. The doctors here are professionals with it. How long have you actually been going through this yourself? I guess in a sense I really have been too. You're 58, I'm 50. And in a sense, now thinking back and really realizing how things were growing up in my life and how everything really seemed fake, even right down to people's sympathies, people's love, and everything else. It's always felt fake to me. And I believe it possibly could have been. So I may have been a possible target to this, going through this my whole entire life as well. Nothing is what it seems. Nothing is what it seems. Right now, when I'm right now when I am doing this, my right side of my head, all in here, and all towards my occipital lobe, I am getting air blowing or pumped through it, and it is starting to come down around my bone here, my cheekbone in here, and down into my jaw. I have gotten so much damage to from the radiation and EMFs too. It's eating the bone away in my jaw. It's actually starting to cause holes. I am actually lucky that I go in for surgery on Tuesday for such because of this going on with me, and to get all my teeth out and get my jaw realigned. Actually, I get air pumping through me, and I actually get fluids as well. And the most disgusting thing is the other day I was getting something going through me and I started choking. I was outside with my dog and I had to spit it up because it was choking me. And the worst part is it almost looked like, as much as I hate to say this and as disgusting as it almost looked like semen that was coming up, that I was spitting up, and it's seriously thick. I also get urine and feces going through me. I can taste it in my mouth. I can smell it all around me all the time. I'm basically being used as a toilet from these pieces of shit who are using R&M on me. I wish a lot of people could actually realize that there is more to a person than just their physical body and how a person can actually be hacked. There is your physical body, there is your spiritual body, there is your auric body, and so on and so forth. There is your etheric body, and these can be hacked through the RNM, which in turn will affect a person's physical body as well. Everything is energy, vibration, and sound, including us. We are as hackable as a computer is. The worst part is remote neuromonitoring. It has been around since the 1960s. Police and military tech, and it's a good job that nobody really realizes or is aware of what it is, but it's police and military tech, nano microchip implant, and it's been around since the 60s. Scientology, that they're a bunch of nutcases. But it's a nano microchip implant that's been around since the 60s, and it's designed for the central nervous system, for destruction of the central nervous system, attachment to it. And with a person's destroyed central nervous system, that completely will help shut a person's body down, brain and body as well. Slow, kill, injure, torture, get away with it. Label your victims suicidal, label your victims drug addicts, or label your victims being criminals or having high psychological problems, whatever the case may be. And then when the person actually disappears or they are killed, that narrative can be used against them. The suicide, the drugs, or whatever the case may be. And this is how it is being gotten away with by the police and by the doctors around here in Napanee, using their badges, positions, credentials, their false guise of law. They're using inmates for drop charges who are aiding them in their crimes. They're lying, they're buying time, and then they are transferring to avoid arrest and lawsuits on themselves and the police. The reason I was falsely charged through the hospital was because of me wanting them arrested and charged for crimes that they're guilty of and for speaking of it. So they conspired with the police to have it done to me. I spoke up. I done the right thing to try to save lives and let everybody know what was taking place within Napanee with the police and others, the homeless human trafficking that was happening here and the homeless exploitation. And I don't go for that. I spoke up against it. And I became a victim of it. My mother was being stalked. The one guy that is involved with this, he was stalking my mother. He was calling my mother mom. He was phoning my mother, threatening her and my life before they actually caused her death. So the guy was told that he and I were switched at birth. The one guy involved was told that he and I were switched at birth, and he is in his 70s and I'm 50, and he actually believes that it's true, but he also believes that he's Harry Potter as well. The guy is seriously psychotic. He's highly delusional. He's a heroin addict. He used to stalk children for the ex-OPP chief for sex slavery, pedophilia, trafficking, and I got the guy's picture, and when I got his picture, he went into hiding. I understand you. I understand that 100%. I myself now am all I got, so I have nothing to lose, so I am not scared to speak up in any way, shape, or form. I have nothing to lose, so I will speak up and I will do it for others as much as I possibly can as well for ones that cannot. And I do understand your fear. So you have your family, you have your life, and you got to be concerned for them and you got to take care of them. That is the first priority right then and there, especially children. All these ones that are doing this too are all pedophile garbage, sex offending, low life, rapists as well. Men, women, and children, they are all scum, low life pieces of shit. Have they ever been affected from the same thing that you're aware of? Maybe in different ways. And they might not have even been aware of what was taking place, or are they aware of your situation and what you're going through, or have you been trying to keep it hidden as much as possible because of that fact for their safety? But like I said, with me, the reason it happened with me is I became a target because I spoke of the homeless human trafficking. And back in 2019, I was at my previous address, and the ex chief went by, OPP chief, police chief went by, and he waved at me. And when I waved back, a black truck pulled up beside him, and they pointed something and shot it at me, and it went into my right ear. And that is when all the problems began, the burning in my head, and it actually started moving from my ear up around my occipital lobe to the top of my head. It was moving through my brain, and obviously that's not normal. So I went to the hospital to try to find out what's going on, and I got an appointment for a CAT scan of that year, of November of that year. And the doctor conveniently afterwards pretty much medically blacklisted me because the one woman involved, a mental health worker, Stacy, was in talking to her. And then it was after that I was pretty much medically blacklisted. They even gave my original CAT scan results away to the police illegally. I had no criminal record or history in any way, shape, or form. I had no association with any cops prior to this happening to me. I had no association with any mental health prior to this happening. I had no association or was even at a hospital in approximately 7 to 10 years before any of this because I was doing good mentally, physically, spiritually. I was healthy. I was growing. I was meditating. I was doing good. I was trying to help myself and help others as well in the process. And then when I found out what was taking place, especially the homeless, the exploitation and human trafficking, I spoke up against it. I do not regret speaking up against it. Regardless of what's happened to me, I do not regret this speaking up against it. Because if I've warned anybody and they've actually been aware and paying attention, and I possibly have helped anybody, then I'm glad. But I do not regret it, regardless of what all has happened to me through this over the last 3.5 years. The lies, the time buying, the false arrests, the arrest refusals, being surrounded, hands on guns by police to prevent arrest, having a justice of the peace obstruct by accusing me of being hallucinating, being high on marijuana while being sodomized. Praise be to you too. Thank you. And blessings for you, and I will pray for you as well. Now knowing that your situation is pretty similar to mine, and we all need to stick together, and we all need to come together, and we all need to get this ended. Everybody that this is happening to needs to come together, and this needs to end. It is time. No more paranoia that thinking that everybody is against them and a perp and what that, because a lot of them do have that paranoia. And it's time to get rid of that. If they are truly being injured and tortured and going through the exact same thing, then it's time to stand up and be heard worldwide because this is affecting a lot of millions and millions of people in Canada, in the States, in all over the world. Actually, you are a reporter, right? You're an investigative reporter. That is how a lot of the cops are getting away with this, is because they're using their lies, positions, badges, false guises of law, and of course, by the means, the way it's being done, leaves them open for Pontius Pilate deniability. Basically, they can wash their hands of any and all crimes that they are guilty of by this means. It leaves them open for 100% deniability while being fucking guilty. Simple as that. Luckily, with me, I know everybody that is doing it to me. I know their faces. I know them. Even the one person that's involved with this doing it to me is my cousin. He is up on assault charges for stabbing somebody here in town, and he is working with them for the cops for drop charges. I was arrested a week ago for trying to get medical help. I went to the hospital, and as a result, I was arrested and charged for trying to get help. But that's only because the hospital's involved and they need to keep covering up the crimes that they're guilty of. I understand that. That's just their way to try to get out of their crimes that they're guilty of, using their positions and everything else in hopes of people will believe it. Thinking doctors cannot commit crimes, thinking police cannot commit crimes. And meanwhile, that's the reason why they get away with them, because of that attitude that so many have, thinking that they cannot be criminals. If a person is going to be a serial killer, what better position or profession to hide in? A police officer, a doctor, a psychiatrist, where you're above suspicion for many years, possibly. Isn't that right, Spencer Mills? Because that's exactly what this cop is here involved with this. He is a serial killing piece of shit lowlife. Yeah. Fear's an illusion. It only will affect you if you let it. But fear's an illusion. Mind you, it seems very real, but it is in fact an illusion. By the way, I hope, considering what has taken place with you too, I hope that you are having a good day. Keeping busy is actually a good thing. Whereas myself, I've been spending most of my time taking care of my dog. That's what's taking up a lot of my time, so I have a lot of free time, and that's why I'm on here a lot. It does me too, because if it's being done to me, what is being done to me? How many others is it being done to? And worse. The sad part is I know other people that they are guilty of murdering here in the same town, and they have gotten away with at least 4 homicides so far that I am aware of, and nothing can be done because they work for the cops. That's because they're using the R&M, probably using R&M on your dog and abusing it that way. That is how it happened with with my dog Runt. They were using R&M on him between a pug dog and my lab dog. And as a result, it caused his cancer and it seriously deformed his face. He even has a split skull from it now. Pretty much just like from me having it used on me, it caused me to my skull to be split into different sections. And I have a minute and 40-second video on my channel here to show it and prove it from being broadcasted through. Just what this has been doing to me, even from the inside. I have other videos on my Facebook too that have been talking about this, showing my identity theft and changes that I've been talking about and proving it to prove that this is happening more and how, by whom, and why. Other pictures and videos. I have pictures of myself that are clearly me, but 100% looks nothing like me. And that sometimes happens on an hourly fucking basis.